let's go ahead and take a look at how we can create some volume sliders for audio settings. So to create your audio settings here, you can go ahead and create yours however you would like yours to show up visually, of course. And the only mandatory parts that we're using here is the H slider. So that'll be right here. So we're just using 3 of these, one for our master volume, one for sound effects, one for music. And of course you can go on with that. So you can have one for voices, one specifically for water sounds if you wanted, one for whatever, however many different ways you want to split up your audio. And for the purposes of this, since everything's like really loud normally, I am setting the minimum value to -80 and the maximum value +20. Now, if you want to display the number that it's at, you want it to be a typical 0 to 100, then just set whatever label, whatever that's using to display the text, equal to the value right here. This is the number that'll be changing as we move our slider. Just set that to this number plus 80. So in order to have all of these different audio tracks, if you will, you need to actually have a different bus for each one. Now, an audio bus is controlling basically all audio will go into specific buses, such as in this case, all my sound effects will go into one bus, all the music will go into another bus, and then if we had voices, those would go specifically into the voice bus, and that controls the audio for each individual section. And at the end of all that goes into a master bus, which is something that we have by default. And when you change the volume of that, it obviously changes the volume of everything else because everything gets fed into the master. So in order to add a bus, we just come on down here to the audio tab right next to animation. And then go ahead and hit this add bus button here. And you'll see it pop up and it'll say new bus. You can come in here and you can name it whatever you like. I'm just going to name this example one voices. And now we have a voices bus. Now, if you want, you can come in. You got all kinds of different effects that you could put in there and stack on top of each other. You can specifically mute a single bus channel if you wanted. You can go solo. And I'm not 100% sure what bypass. Okay, there we go. And then options here, duplicate, delete, and reset volume. And of course, you could always manually set whatever you want it to be here. I'm just going to reset that. But we're going to be doing all of that later. And obviously through code as we change our sliders. Down here at the bottom, you see we can have all of our audio export out to a specific bus, but there's no reason not to just send it all out to the master. That's the point of the master bus there. And if you did this frequently, you can go ahead and you could save your bus layout here, and that way you can just load it into other projects. But for these, all we need is our H sliders now. We have our audio buses here. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect the change value signal or value changed signal here from all 3 of our sliders. Now I'm just using an audio stream player with an audio source on that's constantly looping, and I just set it to autoplay when the game starts. And you'll see in the bus section, I have mine set to come through the music because that's what this audio would be. In this case, it would be my music. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into our code. And I've gone ahead and made 3 variables just to make it easier to access each of my 3 sliders. And for each of your functions, they all have a value that gets passed in when the signal gets emitted. And that value is the number that comes from the value of our sliders that I was mentioning earlier when I said you take the value and add 80. If you want to display a range of 0 to 100. So the way that we set the volume is we first have to get our audio server. And then we call set bus volume dB, which is your decibels. And inside of that takes 2 arguments. We need the index of our bus. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Or if you don't know that number, you can just call audio server dot get bus index and pass in a string for the name of your bus. So in this case, I have SFX, so I'm going to type SFX in there. And here I have music, I'm going to type music in here. Here we're going with the master volume, so I'm going to type in master. So those are 2 ways that you can go ahead and get it. So again, you can either do all of that, or you can just type in 0. Either way will work. In this case, I prefer to do it this way just because there's no mistake. All you have to do is type it correctly, and you'll always have the index no matter where it is in your list. As you see, we can go like this, and we could mix them up, right? So you can always reorganize your list. Just grab that, and we can move that around. So doing it this way pretty much removes any issues with setting the indexes. And then we just want to pass in the value that we get over here. When we're sliding, right? The value that gets passed in from our signal. And now if we go ahead and run our scene, see the audio is playing. And now if we adjust our music that we have our audio going out to in the bus, you see, since our audio is going out to the music bus, and we're setting the decibel volume of the music bus, and we're setting that equal to the value of our slider. There you go. Now we have a functioning slider for all of our audio settings that we want to do. And of course, since everything goes into the master slider, we can also change the master, and that would change the volume of everything. So if we want to turn this all the way down here, but then turn our music up, you can certainly do that. And this allows you to do some game mixing of your own to adjust what all of these are going to be. Just remember that when you change scenes in your game, these are going to effectively reset with your new scenes. So you'll probably set or store this data into maybe a global script, or on a script that doesn't change, or on your level manager, whatever you do, and then just apply these values into your audio whenever you change a scene, just to make sure, because I have seen that when you change scenes, that the audio will reset and everything will go back up to 0 on the volume, which would be the default. Alright, so that'll do it for this video. That's how we go ahead and we create audio sliders for our game. Or, I guess not even necessarily a game, just whatever has audio. That's how you can adjust that and set the different buses to control each different output. That way you can apply some mixes to your own, and then allow the user to adjust the volume for everything on their end. Alright, take care. I'll see you guys in the next video, and if you have any questions, comments, or anything that you want to see, by all means, leave them down in the comment section below.